Rodney King was severely beaten by the police on March 3, 1991. The police attempted to pull him over in Lakeview Terrace in the San Fernando Valley after he was caught speeding at 110 miles per hour. He led the police on a short pursuit because he knew being pulled over would violate his parole. The police claimed he resisted arrest once he was pulled over. They claimed he was on drugs, although he was not. The police proceeded to beat Rodney King severely for about 15 minutes, resulting in skull fractures, broken bones, and permanent brain damage. The police did not know they were being filmed for most of the beating. The people that filmed it brought it to the media, and the film was repeatedly shown on TV. Police brutality and racial profiling had been a problem for some time in LA, but this was the first time it was caught on tape. The 4 main officers involved were brought to trial on charges of using excessive force. Their trial was moved to Semi Valley. The 4 white officers represented for many people of color everything that was wrong with the police.
Months after the beating, the 4 white LAPD officers are acquitted of beating King. Riots start in south central Los Angeles. A white truck driver is pulled from his truck and beaten. A news helicopter captures the beating on videotape, and Governor Pete Wilson declares a state of emergency, calling in the National Guard troops. There's a dusk to dawn curfew enforced around the city and the county of LA, while over 1,000 Marines, 600 Army soldiers, and 6,000 National Guard troops patrol the streets of LA. Months later, a federal grand jury returns indictments against Kuhn, Powell, Wind, and Brasino on the charge of violating the civil rights of Rodney King. The federal jury convicts Kuhn and Powell on one charge of violating King's civil rights, while Wind and Brasino are not found guilty. No disturbances follow this verdict. U.S. District Court Judge John Davies sentences both Sergeant Stacy Kuhn and Officer Lawrence Powell to 30 months in prison for violating King's civil rights. Powell is found guilty of violating King's constitutional right to be free from an arrest made with unreasonable force. Ranking Officer Stacy Kuhn is convicted of permitting the civil rights violation to occur. In the following year, the U.S. District Court in Los Angeles awards King $3.8 million in damages in a civil suit against the city, despite his demand for $56 million, or $1 million for every blow struck by the officers. The riots lasted over 5 days in the spring of 1992, leaving more than 50 people dead and more than 2,000 injured. The rioting destroyed or damaged over 1,000 buildings in the LA area, and the estimated cost of damages was over $1 billion. More than 9,800 California National Guard troops were dispatched over this time, and nearly 12,000 people were arrested, though not all the arrests were directly related to the rioting.
How many black kids you killed today?
Nah, typical, like 5.
5? I got 6. Hey, what are you doing over there?
Just doing a Running Man challenge.
What are those? Is that a gun?
Nah.
He's got a gun. Let's shoot
Use
him.
some Pringles.
Hey, hey, hey! He's dead. We got him.
Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter is a national organization working for the fair treatment of blacks. It is working to rebuild the black liberation movement. Black Lives Matter was created in 2012 after Trayvon Martin's murder. George Zimmerman was acquitted for his crime, and dead 17-year-old Trayvon Martin was placed on trial for his own murder. Black Lives Matter is a call to action and a response to the extremely severe and harmful anti-black racism that still exists in our society today. Black Lives Matter goes beyond killings of black people by police and aims more for the need for equality in society today. What does Black Lives Matter mean? Black Lives Matter also consists of mentoring the state violence and includes all the ways in which black people are left powerless in the hands of the state. They generally speak about the ways in which black lives are stripped from their basic human rights and dignity. Black Lives Matter is working for a world where blacks' lives are not targeted just for being black. People across the U.S. put their time and effort into creating a political project, taking the hashtag Black Lives Matter off of social media and putting it into the streets. The call for Black Lives to Matter is a cry for all black lives striving for liberation.
It is clear that the struggle for equality has evolved, but it has not necessarily progressed. We see the struggle continue as the Black Lives Matter movement expands, and African Americans are still being discriminated against. The LA riots ended, but new riots continue to occur, such as the riots in Baltimore and Ferguson. Artists such as The Game, Dr. Dre, Ice Cube, and Tupac all have lyrics alluding to the police brutality present in their lives. These artists have made black equality easier to achieve as they have broadened the horizon for it. Their songs have made an impact in showing the world what is happening between police and African Americans. Society has had tension for years based on race, as the least significant saying can create an uproar between the white and black communities. Black equality has not improved much since the LA riots, and more actions clearly need to be taken to achieve equality in America.